I just took a peek and took you with me. I don't want to bother them too much. See that nest? I have never seen a nest as full as that one. Oh, here comes Mom in the back, or Dad. There's so many babies in there. And you know why? There's only one reason a bird can have so many babies. Let's leave them, because they have more than enough food. Wonder where they're getting the food from. Look, nothing yet. This is turmeric, and not one single one is coming up. Hi, it is Robbie from Southern California. I'm going to make it quick. It's in the middle of May through here, because they're still working on that house. It's only been, what, 5 years? So they're noisy, and it starts early in the morning at the crack of dawn, as soon as the sun comes up, and then they go on all day. So it's going to be too hard for you to hear me. Even when I'm mic'd, it's too hard to hear me. Look at the nectarines. They are getting bigger and bigger, and I'm so excited. So we're going to have a lot. Now, something's eating some of them, and I'm suspecting snails. So anytime I see that at this point, I snap them off. I've tried leaving them thinking the snail would come back, if it is a snail, but it looks like snail damage. That they would come back and eat the same one, but they don't. So I'm just going to drop them. There's so many on there, I'm not going to worry about that. Then my sage, look at my apple tree. I'm going to design, or at least spread the apple tree out that way. And then I've got the pomegranate, more apple. I'm going to trim that down. And then this is the chair garden. I haven't done anything yet. Well, I shouldn't say that. Everything you see, I have done things. But the thing is, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm starting to freshen up soil. I'm moving containers here because I have flowers, and I've been moving them like in the truck bed and around the property. I'm also going to set up more containers, so when the water comes out, it will go into the container, and I'll get more geraniums growing, because I did get a couple more geraniums. I'm trying to get different colors growing. So this is just a squash plant I picked up at the 99-cent store. They sat too long, and we'll have to see if they make it. I looked it up, and it was last June that things really started to get planted and stuff. Because remember, we grow from June into November. And if I plant too early, the plants just fizzle out and die. That's what happens. But when you plant in June and our nights are warmer, then they take off in June. But right now they would just sit. Oh, this is doing great. I've got shark fin melon everywhere. Look at this. Got a new one back there. See the snail on there? I think that's what they're doing with the nectarine. I should just wrap the base of the tree with tulle, and that will probably stop the snails from going up. They won't eat the shark fin melon, so I don't have to worry about that. And here I've got all kinds of fruit. Boy, it throws so many female flowers. Look here. I'm actually very excited with it. There's another female flower. There's more there. So what I've done here is I'm going to go with geraniums in the back. I was thinking of making all colors, but I think I'm going to stick with that. And then I might dot in one watermelon, but I'm going to plant it in a bucket, so it will have its own bucket. I don't think that one, unless I decide to take out the Swiss chard. Let's walk over here. We still have all these weeds to get out, but I'm leaving them right now so the birds can feed on them as well as build their nests. Because remember, the hummingbirds use this. A lot of birds use that. Look at this. Like I said, it's been great, and I use it now. I'm so excited with it. We grew it for years, and I didn't like it. And now I'm starting to use it, experiment with it, and I'm really happy with the fruit. Now, this is Chinese forget-me-not. Gary moved some of them in here. I'll show you where they are, and they're taking. And because this is all growing here, it's got to get tall to get above it. And this is fantastic. And then, of course, you know what I do. Anytime I have leaves that we can't eat and don't want, all this just gets pushed back down to the ground. Underneath on the bottom here, even weeds get pulled out and dropped, because it's going to dry up in a matter of days and all becomes part of our soil, which is really compost, but I'm just going to say for now soil. And that's it. Let's walk over here and I'll show you. There's the forget-me-nots. I don't know if I planted it, because I did have a wild seed that I planted, like native seeds or whatever, to throw out. And it was a meadow seed, and one plant came up, but it has spread. All this through here, all of this is Chinese forget-me-nots. So I want to move some of it in my bird garden. I'm going to leave some of it there. And everything else is the same. Listen, you probably can't hear because of their drilling. They're feeding the babies over there in the tree. That's where the wren's nest is that I just showed you. And they're so loud because there's 7. We counted 7. I mean, you and me just did it. I haven't looked. This is the first time I'm looking. Gonna have to trim that back too because I want to be able to get to these totes. I'm getting close to doing these soon because I'm going to do squash, zucchini in here, as well as maybe watermelon because this gets a lot of sun. So let's just kind of do a quick walkthrough. You know what I love doing? Working. You won't see what I've done because a lot of it is I'm going to say behind the scenes. There's no scenes. This is our life. Really, it's kind of freshening up, taking soil from one tote and putting it in another because you don't throw soil away. And that's what I've been doing. Haven't touched anything here because I'm debating how much I'm going to leave. I probably will leave all these. They're big totes. They've been there for years. And I don't want to move them. Probably will redo these. What do I have here? Oh, that's right. It got moved. If you go back and look last year, there were 2 black ones. That black. What happened was, you know what? That's right. Because when Gary got the wood chips, he's telling me I don't have to move those. They did move them. That's why that tote is there. It was black, black, and black. And then there was a blue one on top and a red one. See how they got switched when he put back? So I'm kind of debating on what I'm going to leave because he wants to get more wood chips in for his garden. So when I get here, then I'll think about it. Here's some plants we got over here. He bought the strawberries, and then I bought this. I've already propagated some of it. Got to remember to get my basil plant in. And look at my poor blueberry plant that's been sitting there for over a year, absolutely full of blueberries. That really needs a bigger pot than that. And then he wants to put this in his garden. We'll have to do a garden tour in his garden, maybe this week or next week. He's been working away. I haven't been down there at all. He's got bird nests and everything. So here you look and you think, wow, all the weeds. Here's the problem. These weeds have seeds on them, and the goldfinches and a lot of birds eat the small seed. So I'm trying to leave them for as long as they can. They're not doing any damage. So they're not like Bermuda grass that will get in there and kill your plants. That does not. So I leave as much as I can for as long as I can. Now, if the fire department comes through and does an inspection, they'll want all this out because they don't look at it as green. They look at it as what it's going to turn into. Brown, brushy, something burnable. So right now it wouldn't burn, but that's the whole idea. If they don't get to it before it turns brown, then it's kind of like a fire hazard, kind of like you can see some of them up there, which thank goodness they never see. But anyways, no, Gary goes around pulling all the weeds, but I'm leaving as much as I can. And then I'll decide. I think I can leave, let me step back. Everything here. The upside down planters, I have no place else to put them. So and they're good for lettuce. Oh, perfect for lettuce. Carrots, little short carrots I grow in there. Parsley, oregano, everything, anything off the ground, that the rabbits can get, it works perfect. I wouldn't put a tree colored in those. You can't buy them anymore. I don't think they make them. You've heard the story every time I do the garden tour. I got them for $2.50. It's been 6 years, 7 years, gosh, a long time. Walmart had them on sale. They had them for $5. It wasn't a sale, it was a clearance, and they wanted them out of the garden department. My daughter called and said, you better get down here right now. They've got them half price, which is $2.50. She bought and a friend bought, and they couldn't stand them, and they both gave them to me. So we've got them here. I don't have them on the deck anymore, and I've got some in the bird garden. And there's another one there. But they really do work good for lettuce, but that's basically it. I've got red vein sorrel in there. But I want to keep as many of the weeds as possible because even the wrens we just saw, this is what, not only do some of the birds eat them, but this lines the nest, see? And then look how soft it is. Hummingbirds love it. So that's why I'm leaving all that. All right, so we can just walk through here. And like I said, it's just mixed. Look at the mustard on the bottom. It's, the mustard now has gone to seed. So I'm going to leave this as long as I can, and I'll collect a bunch, knowing that this will grow like this. I mean, here, the mustard fell from the top, grew on the bottom. So see the mustard up here? It went to seed already, and then it regrew back. That means this seed will grow better than if I open up a package and throw it, because it's acclimated to my property to grow in rocks and to grow in clay. So I'm going to get it maybe around the meadow. That would be really, really cute and nice, and nothing eats it. Not even the rabbits eat it. And then I can plant it in different places. I did use it to cook with, because it was so strong to eat raw, even though you can eat it raw, and it was really good. The bitterness came out of it. And then this is carrots, and it's going to go to seed. Walking onions, celery. There's that same celery we looked at. Look at this. Isn't this wild? Look at this. I don't need leaves I'm not going to eat. Oh, I'm going to end up breaking it off. I don't want to leave it. See how big the hole is? Gary made a hole in here, I think. Maybe I made the hole. See how it's growing? It's going to make the hole bigger. That's just crazy. That's why I left it, but I really don't want it. I need to freshen this up, and I really want to get my cabbage in there because I've got cabbage growing. It's a little off season for cabbage. If it gets too hot, it will bolt, but I can still use the leaves. And then I've got the celery there, more celery there, and I want to redo this. Oh, a flower pot. No, I need one much bigger than that. All right, so let's go in the front yard now because you saw that this is still weedy. Now remember, all these weeds, all of them, not just the sow thistle, but the mustard that's coming up and everything, all that becomes my soil. That's why everything that's in here, anything I want to move, that soil I made from here, I know it's organic. I know that there's nothing bad in there. I know there's no herbicides in there, persistent herbicides. I can grow in that. And you take all this, you throw it in a bucket or a tote or whatever, and grow again. So the soil in there is perfect, and everything, all these weeds, I look at it as, boy, do I save money on not buying soil because I'm making my own. All right, let's go in the front yard. So now we're in the front yard, and it should look no different than last garden tour 2 weeks ago. Maybe a little more overgrown, but then paths were cut out as well. I have a geranium on the bottom there. But I'm really happy with what's growing. I've got chamomile. I come out here at night. I grab a bunch of the flowers, though I do want to collect seeds, and then I just throw them in a glass pot. I've got a teacup pot, and I just pour boiling water over it, and I have tea at night. And this has been great. I haven't had a plant that big here, and that's really nice. It's about a good 3.5 feet tall. That's really nice. And I got walking onions. I got look at the red vein sorrel. I use that for green drinks, but I also use that in salad. Then I've got this brassica, which I'm letting it go to seed because, again, you just saw the wrens. Well, the wrens don't need that much seed, but there's a lot of birds here, goldfinches. They'll eat this as soon as the seed develops. It's not chewed on, so it makes me think that they know the seed is too tiny. But once the pods get bigger, they'll feed on that. So I'm leaving that right now because this is why the wrens got 7 babies, because there's abundance of food here. If they've got the food, they can feed their babies. If there's not enough food, they'll choose to feed what they can, and then the rest, they get pushed out of the way. So this has been working out really good. This is why we got thousands of birds here. No joke, thousands. So everything here is the same. I'm going to clean up the table and we'll discuss the table another time, but I've got all kinds of stuff growing on there, but it's all old stuff. See how it's all kind of growing? I've got lettuce going to seed. I've got more chamomile. I've got brassicas in there, celery. I want to redo that soon. Is this not beautiful? Now this I did buy as a little plant, and now we've got it there. We've got it behind the gate. I've got it at my neighbor's house growing, I saw out front. So everybody's growing it. This is birdseed coming up. This is canary seed. See how it's coming up? Comes out of the bird food we give. I leave that too, and they can feed on that. And that's a milky stage. It'll get a little bit bigger, and they call it a milky stage because it's soft. It's perfect to feed baby birds with. Then I've got in here the different colors. Oh, remember years ago I put it in the cement blocks? I took out all the walking onions, and I planted that, and I think it works out better. I had this whole thing tooled years ago with tool to keep the squirrels out because they started eating my walking onions. That worked, but it's such a hassle, and I got walking onions everywhere, and the pot's there, and the pot's back there. So I figured I would just do this, and I do so appreciate geraniums. I've got this salmon-colored one here. I've got these pink ones here. These are bushy ones, and those kind of vines, so they wander. See how they wandered up the fence back there? These kind of wander through here. I really like them. And then you've got here, same thing, they'll wander. Gary will trim them back. The leaf is different. See how the leaf is shiny? And this is kind of a soft, fuzzy leaf. These are more bushy and they grow tall. See how that one is tall? I told Gary, don't cut it. I'm going to grab the whole stem and put it in a pot so it'll look like a little tree right here. But it really needs to be cut. See, he cut some of these already. Look at this. I want to trim it back. I can cut it all the way back and it will grow back. I really like it. But again, it may look like a mess, but so many birds are nesting right now, and I'm trying so hard to keep as much as I can for the birds. Nothing in here. I'm going through this little by little, planting it up. It should be done within the next week or two. I just will go crazy when I see them growing, but nothing's growing. Nothing. I keep checking. See, even that, there's nothing. That means we're cold. Look at the weather today. You'll see in a few minutes as I'm walking around. It's damp and cold. And when I say cold, I think we're about 49, 50 degrees, and that's just too cold for this stuff. Ginger and turmeric needs it to be really close to 60. This is wild rocket back here. I think that was the end of my stevia. I've had it for many, many years. You know what? We'll have to see. Maybe it will come back because it didn't before, but I've had it for many years, but we'll see what happens. And then here, if I don't cut it, it's a shame. It's full of tomatoes. I mean, literally full of tomatoes. Back here, you can barely see it, but it's there. The thing is, I'm gonna fall on it and break my neck, to be perfectly honest. So I'm probably gonna take it out, and it's in the ground. And so it's not growing in the tote. If it was in the tote, I would shape it up and, stake it, but it's in the ground. It's kind of growing wild. So I will get to that fairly soon. I just like the looks of it. So Gary keeps stepping over it. If it's not him, it'll be me. So I have to do something with that. Now in here, I've been doing a lot of work, but you can't see it because it's more of trimming all the leaves out. This is going to have to be all trimmed and probably taken out and regrown. This is a tree color, but see, each one of these is a plant. And that's what's wonderful. And they're so straight. And again, this is gold to me. I don't want to throw anything away because it makes my soil and it's free. But this is great soil. Brassicas are great. But look at that. There's like 100 of them in there. And sometimes they're twisty. And yes, you can grow any of them. But the idea that this thing is growing, because it must have snapped a little bit somewhere. So it's sending all the shoots. Well, it didn't because it's up there. So it sent a bunch of top shoots out. And they are just beautiful because of the straight stem. It'd be the perfect tree color to plant. So I'm kind of holding on to that. It's staked up really strong and be able to do something with that later and get as many as I can off. And I am starting to propagate in here. Haven't moved that yet. See what I set up here? This is a gate. I don't know what it is. Gary found some sort of half a dog kennel is what it is. It looks like a gate. And he found it in the trash and he brought it home. Now there's 2 of them, but I wanted it somewhat strong. And I had all these things. And I thought, well, why don't I just sit it there among my mint? Then I got this thing I got, which is who knows what, but that's metal. So that can hold a lot of weight under there. I put it there. I just threw it all together. And now I'm propagating. So now I've got these pots I keep filling with just soil from the ground or soil from another tote. And then I stick in pieces as I start to trim. I really need to trim more. And this is lemon verbena. It's not done right. You really want to trim off almost all the leaves, but it's kind of a fast job. But I'll be able to put good stems in here, and this is a good place to do propagating because it's got a lot of shade. And you don't want to put, when you're doing new cuttings, in direct sunlight. So that's why I thought this would be a good place, because while I'm sitting here or working, I can think, oh, this is such a nice stem. I'm going to stick it in there, and then I stick a whole bunch, and then I can move them later. Look at all the mint. This I don't care. I love this. Is this chocolate mint? Look at all the walking onions. Walking everywhere, pots everywhere. I'll probably put more walking onions there, and there's more upside down planters. But this doesn't go too wild. It looks like it does, but it doesn't. You know, I haven't had my coffee yet, so I might come back. Look at the size of these leaves. This is chocolate mint. I have peppermint on the other side here in the bird garden, and I just love it. But anyways, it came out of there, and it came through the bottom, and it's crawling around, setting root. Now here, it doesn't get as much water, so the leaves are much smaller. Plus, it gets walked on. And then here's another cutting I did. See, I've got cuttings down here, little cuttings in there. You can put anything. I found that bowl. It came off as something my daughter bought me, a solar light, so I just stuck it down there. It creates, like a mulch. It holds water underneath. And then I've got the hummingbird's lunch there. This was a little branch that broke off. I stuck it in a pot. Look how big it got. And the hummingbirds feed off of that. So that's what I'm doing here. And then here we're still just doing birds. No dragon fruit that I have seen yet. That doesn't mean there's not any starts, but the plant is taking off. It's gone crazy. I'm going to have to start cutting it back. You know what this is? See, again, I'm just going to let them do their thing. All this chewing, these are the birds feeding their babies greens. You know, they picked this one and it's out of sight, and they don't eat off of that stem there. That's really nice. The reason is they must feel more protected here. So they're sitting here all day feeding. So certain ones they feed on, and that's good. More walking onions. Like I said, if the birds have enough food, they're just going to go nuts and have as many babies. If they lay 6, 7 eggs, they're going to be able to feed them because it's a lot of work, but they come here, they forage for insects. Some of them are eating seeds. They eat what they need, feed their babies, and then back to the nest. It's easy. See more geraniums up here? All I had to do was stick a piece in there, a month ago, and it's growing. I just love geraniums. And it's so funny because I didn't like them before. Haven't done anything here yet. I'm working on it, so I'm figuring out how I'm going to set this up. I'll have it set up before summer so I can sit out here and have breakfast or dinner. So I'm working on that. There's my fountain. Oh my gosh, go watch the video. I have thousands of ideas and not enough time. That's just a flower pot, and I'm actually thinking I might have picked it up from Walmart a long time ago, and then that is a dog and cat fountain, but it's got to be set up properly, and then you have to cover the unit. That's all, no big deal. The birds love it. The squirrels come and take a drink. I'm crazy about that. I'm going to change a lot of them over, not all of them. I love my solar, but see, none of the solars are running. There's a solar. Here's a solar. There's a solar. This one's just starting to burp is a solar. So solars aren't running because it is cloudy. It's misty. It's almost raining. I'm wet. So it won't run, but those will run. That's electric. Then here I haven't done anything here, but I did plant one of those. Gary brought home 2 of those emu bushes, the ones that are red. So I got to that the other day, and that one's back here. See, I pulled this out. This was tucked underneath, pulled it out. Now it's going to flower. I don't even know which one it is. See, I replanted that. So hopefully it will be happy here. And you won't even be able to tell it's here because look how close this one looks to the hummingbird lunch. But it is different. But for now, I put it here because I want to make sure I water it really good, take care of it, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to do it because I want to change, not change, but add well, I do want to change it a little bit. I want to get some more yellow in, and I would like to get some blue flowers in. See, the birds don't eat this. It's powdery mildew because of all the rain we've got or the cold weather, but that's okay. You don't throw this away. This is my new soil. But see, they don't sit and eat the greens here because it's too open. And they like to be tucked over there so they can just chew, 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 and then run back and feed their babies. More upside down planters here that I'll take care of later. More water that comes off the roof. This is a tomato plant. I had it in a cup that I was growing in some tulle, I believe. I can't remember. Yeah, it was in tulle. And I didn't take care of them, and only one grew, which is okay. And it's just from a tomato in my own yard. I believe it's a kind of a black red tomato. So I went ahead and put it in there for now. We'll see if it makes it. I'm going to turn this into composting so I can throw things in there, but I might still have a pot in there. Like I said, I'm just starting to analyze what I'm going to do. Now, all these are dog kennels. This was from a groomer. Oh my gosh. 20 years ago? 30 years ago? I don't even know how many years ago. I'm going to say at least, boy, they're at least 20 years. If they're going to be over 20. They were redoing a pet store that my daughter used to work at. Yeah, we're looking at 25, 26 years ago. And they cleared them out because they redid the grooming department. And they threw them at the dumpster. My daughter called that time and said, you've got to come get them. I knew people that wanted to buy them for dogs. And I said, no, we're not selling them. And we went ahead and threw them here before we knew what we were doing. And I started growing in them, and there's like rocks and clay in there from our own soil. But over the years, I've kind of freshened it up a little bit. But that's what these are, if you wonder what they are. You can't buy them, but boy, they've withstand the time of being out here for so long. So I'm going to redo those. But again, all this is I'm waiting and letting the birds do their thing. I have plenty of food. Of course, if you had a small garden, you don't do that. You have to cater to yourself. But we have enough. And look at all the greens growing back there. Isn't that gorgeous? Those are tree collards. I don't need to chop this down just to chop it down. So I'm going to let it do its thing. Let the birds come in, feed off of it. They use a lot of different parts of the plants to make a nest out of. And then when I'm ready, as I get to them, it's like, okay, now I'm in here. I've got potatoes growing in there also right now. They're starting to bloom back. Remember, I did the potato harvest. Look at that. The purple potatoes are growing. Isn't that cool? And there might be potatoes in that one. I'll have to check. So anyways, I will leave it as long as I can. So I'll start with one that's got canary seed again. I think you saw that last time. See how it grows? Coming out of the bird food we feed. This is canary seed. And it just seeds itself because the birds are eating it. And then it just drops on the ground and it grows. More brassicas. So I can leave that for me. You have to do what's going to work for you to feed yourself and your family. For me, I know I can leave that, and when I'm ready, I'll get to it. Got lemon verbena back there, and this is spearmint. Now, spearmint, I'm not crazy about. It's kind of like close to a wild version of mint. Now, that goes crazy all over the place. But it's still okay. Gary comes out here every day. He likes spearmint, and he puts that in tea. He makes a tea out of it. And I just pull it out, and as it comes back, I just pull it. And that I throw away. I don't compost it. If you compost mint, especially a wild type version, then it will take over your compost and you'll have it growing in all your plants. Don't compost mint. The only way you could do that is you would have to put it somewhere, let it completely dry out and rot. You can put it in a bucket and rot it. But if any part of it lives, it will grow and take over. So that's what I'll do with all these dog kennels. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. Back here, I've got celery. This is going to be moved because I don't want to feed birds on this end of the yard. I want all the birds on that end, so I'll get to that later. But look at all this. This is all seed. This is all food for the birds. They eat the greens, as I showed you, the flowers. The hummingbirds feed on these all day. And then you've got the bush tits coming in looking for insects. And then you've got other small birds coming in to eat the small seeds. I mean, it's just like the best food for them. Hear the birds? They've been coming in all morning. Been sitting there and just watching them for a few moments. And then the papayas, we'll see what happens. Technically, it's raining. My camera's going to get wet. It's drizzling. I really should take this out. But really, it's the only papayas. I do have one sitting in the bird garden. I don't know if it's going to make it back there. But the point is way back there. I should take them out and then clear up the space so I can get to it, but I really like it, so I'm going to hang on and wait and see what happens. If they make it, maybe I'll build this up and just have it look a little nicer, and it will hold some more soil and moisture around it because I still have papayas up there. Some of them look like they're going to make it. Some of them don't. I can cut them and let them rebush. That's another way of doing it. So we'll see what happens as time goes on. Look at that. See? All this the birds are going to eat. I just love it. Absolutely love it. And then I've been working a little bit under here. I've got to get my flowers planted before I lose them. Then Gary's still doing his thing. I think he's going to grow squash in his room. Look, he's got flowers. I don't know. He's done the same thing I do. Plants way. Look at that. There's a fruit on that. He plants way too much. And then it's like you have more plants than time is what it is. Now this growing here is peppermint. So I had chocolate mint where I showed you before and peppermint. That had persistent herbicide. So for 2 years it sat, nothing grew. Now the persistent herbicide, it took 2 years to break down, has let the mint grow, and it went through the bottom. It went into the bottom holes. I didn't plant it except for one piece in the back recently. I was testing it, nothing would grow, and then it went through the bottom and started growing. So this is peppermint. I think it came from there, crawled over there and grew in there, and that's a good thing. And that's it. And then again, more birdseed growing everywhere. We're getting to it little by little. Remember, we don't have any team or anybody working for us, so we have to do all our own stuff. And I happen to prefer it that way. It's probably not a good thing, but I like it that way. Going to change up strawberries. I'm not going to cater to those. They're kind of an odd strawberry. They throw little ones. Gary, that's why Gary got better ones. He wants to get a good, substantial strawberry. This is the bottle brush Gary brought here. Oh, so many years ago. It was a baby plant he found out front. I just love it. So we'll get to this mess soon. I don't know if I'm going to leave that strawberry planter there because I think I'm going to redo this one. Okay, again, see, this is fine grass, and there's the wren nest right over there. So it works out really good. They can come and pick around for insects and stuff. I think there is insects on there. So anyways, I'm going to redo this because I really like, now I've got the, here, hold on. Let me move that. I like this. I've got the video when I made that years ago. Just a chair. I got it at the thrift store. It turns, and I can turn the strawberries towards the sun and do what I want. It's all overgrown. I got strawberries down there. I really wish I knew which were the sea gates, but I think I'm going to take the whole thing apart very soon. I don't want to bore you because I have to take it apart and it'll take too long, so I'm not going to do it live or anything. I thought about it and then I thought no, but I'm going to take that apart hopefully in the next couple weeks and then replant them and leave that strawberry tower. I don't know if I'm going to leave that or not. It just depends. And then here I've got onions that are going to seed, which is a good thing because I want to collect the seeds off the onions. And then I've got milkweed growing in there. And then this I know has potatoes. Maybe I'll do a potato harvest with you, but I know the dish pans, I grow a lot of potatoes in there and I just love it. It's easy. Tip it, take all the potatoes out, plant it back. More pepinos. I've been picking them. Holy mackerel. Look at all of them. And they're inside too. I definitely have to do cuttings. The mother plant is over there, and this one I grew last spring. I just did a cutting. Just cut off a piece, stuck it in here with a pot next to it because that helps. And then I've got my pitcher, of course, where you compost in place in there. Go watch that video. And it just took off instantly. And look at this. Oh my gosh. It just keeps growing and growing. I got to grab those. I use that for stir fry. If you leave it too long, they'll get sweet and they taste really good. Then here, this is where my seeds are, and I've actually been moving them as needed. It's too shaded in here, so the plants are growing really slow. But all those, that's what I really want, is watermelon. Oh, look, the peppers are trying to grow. There's peas and beans in here, and I don't even care about that. I want to get the watermelon planted. I've got one planted so far, and I want to get more, and I'm protecting it so nothing goes in there. The peppers, they'll take off as the weather warms up. There's a whole bunch of them. I grew them from seed last year. And then another, look at this geranium in here. I moved one. Then I realized I've got another one in here, so it worked out really good. So I've got this one. Actually, I got another one back there too. I'll have to double check that. And then this is milkweed. More milkweed, and then the tomato plant, which came up on its own. Doesn't like the damp mornings. See all this? See how it gets mildewy? Because it's so damp. It's like you're living in Oregon. It's cold and damp. We're not usually like that. Our weather has changed quite a bit in the past few years. But it'll make it. Once the weather changes, it will all dry up and it will make it. And then through here, I've got to get this with better tool. Things have been chewing on it. That tool is like, not really. I literally draped it over. So if I tooled it right, I'd be able to protect the plants more. But I haven't even started gardening in here. I've been working on the deck. Oh, the deck. I don't know if any of you saw the squash video, but that squash took off. Hand pollinating. I'm so excited. It will be my first zucchini. See, these that are yellow, these pepinos. Uh-oh, something got that. Okay, we'll compost that. Better get that one off today. These will be sweet. In fact, I'm going to take it right now. Put it in my pocket. And this one, you know what we'll do with this one? If we can get it off without killing the plant, we'll put it in here. And it will feed the plant back. And nothing else will eat it except the earthworms. More onions. See, this is the mother plant and it doesn't do as well. It's probably root bound and everything in there. But I'm going to do a ton more cuttings off of this because I know how good it's growing. And then more geraniums. You've seen it more. My pepper plants are making a comeback. I even have peppers starting. But again, it's so cold, they can't do that. Well, look how tiny. So that's it. Just trying to get through because it is drizzling. I didn't expect this today. Knew it'd be cloudy, but that would be it. Again, milkweed and the monarchs have been here constantly, so they know. And then, this is beautiful. Look how thick, and the coloring is different. I may have to analyze this stem because sometimes the geraniums will throw an odd stem with different flowers, and that's the one you want to propagate from because you'll get the exact plant. That's beautiful. So I may do something with that milkweed all through here. This is going to have to be moved out. Here goes the bunny. There are bunnies everywhere out here. Look at him running. And then I've got more geranium cuttings there, and I'll get that all cleaned up so I can propagate all summer. Yes, I propagate in the summer. Walking onions, and then this is just, like I said, this is just another plant that's got to be moved. This is a hummingbird's lunch, and it's way too big, and it's not doing any good here. Most of the hummingbirds are in the bird garden and then on my deck. Okay, so we've done a quick spin around. Oh, I see water dripping off the gazebo. Oh, yeah, let me step under here because it is raining. And that's it. Oh, and my pizza garden. I'm going to get my basil in here. The sage is doing fantastic. It's come back great. Then I've got my oregano. I'm going to clean up 2 of these and put basil in here. And then I'll look at this and analyze if this will ever make a comeback. And if not, I'll clean that up and get a better time. And then the rosemary is my own. Oh, it's actually raining. I hear it falling. I'll leave this, but this is my own. I took a piece, little piece, stuck it in there because I've got rosemary, 3 big plants along the hillside there underneath the bottle brush. And all you have to do is break it off, keep it well watered, and it will do really good. So I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry for the rush. I have been doing things. I haven't gotten to the dog kennel yet. I am going to get to it, but there's no reason to put anything in there right now if nothing's going to grow that I want to put in there. I want to put more zucchini in there. I don't know if I'll do radishes this year because I do radishes and then Gary says we never really eat them. We're not a radish eater. We eat a little bit and then we stop, but I'm so excited on the Rens and I'm so glad I got to share that with you because I haven't looked at all. In fact, we thought the eggs were no good. Surprise! So anyways, with that, have a wonderful day. I'm going to go find where Zoe is because she was with me earlier in the bird garden running around. Everybody have a wonderful day. Hopefully it'll be next month by June. You know, I actually looked it up and it might be June or the middle of June till our weather really changes and then things will just take off. But all in all, I still don't have to buy any vegetables from the garden. I'm sorry, from the grocery store because I've got enough from the garden and that's the main thing. So with that, have a wonderful day and don't forget to eat what you grow. And like I said, 5 years, 6 years they've been working on that. Unbelievable. Hopefully they're almost done. So noisy. Oh, well, they've got to be getting close now. Wouldn't you think? I would think. Have a great day and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. So let me tell you something about the Rens. This is April 5th, last month. He was out there singing his heart out, sitting on the chair, and we knew something was going on. Aren't they gorgeous? Now, there is tons of food here. They're not necessarily eating really any greens or plant matter, but what they are eating are insects. But the more plants we have, and we do not spray not 1 drop of anything, not even neem oil, nothing, the more insects they can hunt around for. We're totally pesticide free on our garden and in our yard. And this way the birds know it. So any insects they pick up, and they do find insects, that is perfect to feed to their babies. And that's why we have so many birds here. They are insect eaters. These are wrens. Look at the eggs. Isn't that something? So that was, like I said, April 5th. And we left them alone, and they've just been singing their heart out and doing their own thing. Well, today, this is the first day I'm looking with you with the garden tour. There they are. Do you know how many there are? I asked you, what do you think? There's actually more than I thought, which is unbelievable. It's actually the maximum they can have. The spice finches brought their babies in yesterday, and they too have 7 babies. They have more. You want to take a guess? And I'll type in later how many there actually are. We were actually shocked. You can count them. They're all there. And look at the parents. They wanted me out of there. And I understand that. And I'm not going to go near them again because they're going to fledge really quick. And mom and dad are feeding them constantly. Notice where the hole is. And notice there's no perch. The reason there's no perch, no predator birds can get in there. And that's why wrens have no perch on the front of their nesting sites. And keep in mind, if you're going to ever look in a nest, make sure there's no ravens around because they'll watch you. Now, these are the spice finches that came in yesterday, and they brought in a ton of babies. Again, 1 nest, 7 babies. So they too have a lot of food, but it's not insects. It's the seeds we're feeding. We so enjoy this. We're so blessed to have this. Gary loves it. I love it. So if you have any questions on birds, we'll do the best we can on answering you. I wanted to share this little tip and knowledge with you in case you're going to build some nests. And well, what are you going to do? This is just too beautiful and so much fun.